If you're going to Kyoto for the first time, you might be worried about how busy it is. It's the most popular place to go in Japan outside Tokyo, and there are problems with overcrowding. So today we're going on a walk around Kyoto to see what it's like and if it's possible to avoid the crowds. This isn't a list of off the beaten track places. We're just going to have a look around and see what it's like in some busy areas, some quieter areas, and some of the most popular parts of Kyoto. And there'll be a few hidden spots along the way. For reference, this is the start of March, which is the very end of the off-season, just before the cherry blossoms. We're starting off at the edge of Pontocho, which is the nightlife district. Shall we go out to bar whatever? A nice little canal running down the street. Pretty. Here's the Kamo River, the main river running through Kyoto, and an extra bonus river by the side. You can see some plum blossoms over there, brightening the place up. We've just walked across the river and we're getting into Gion now. First off, it's totally possible to find empty streets like this in Kyoto. This isn't a remote area, it's right next to Gion, and getting up at the crack of dawn isn't our style. It's actually around midday. The look of these chunky roofs is just so traditional Japanese. It's very pretty. Now we're moving into Gion, the main geisha district and one of my favourite historic areas. It feels so mysterious with all these shutters and screens on the windows. It's very private, so you can't always tell whether these buildings are restaurants or tea houses or even Airbnbs. To me, this gives it more atmosphere than the other historic areas where the buildings are mostly souvenir shops and snack kiosks. I'm filming down here, we've got a building site in the middle. This is one of the main streets in Gion. It's called Hanamikoji Street, and it's just full of all these picturesque old houses. Just ignore the couple of building sites there are. It is really lovely, and they're all different. I like how the buildings are all a similar style, but not all exactly the same. There's lots of wood, bamboo and natural materials. I like how they've made these straw cones instead of using bollards to be in keeping with the historic architecture. There's lots of people who've rented kimono and yukata walking around. I'm sure you could get some really nice photos here. It's actually not quite as busy as I expected. I thought it might be rammed with people down this popular street. It's about midday on a weekday and there are lots of people here, but it's not crazy. You see the Family Mart convenience store isn't allowed its usual signage in a historic area. We're coming up to Yasaka Shrine. It's really close to Gion. This is a major shrine that hosts the Gion festival in July. It's en route between Gion and the Kiyomizudera area. This is a lovely walking route to enjoy traditional Japan. Look at these guys, are they guarding the shrine? Yasaka Shrine is very spacious and there's no entrance fee. It's free to just wander around all these areas. There's quite a few food stalls along here set up in the shrine. And look, we saw these cheese 10 yen coins in Osaka the other day. There was such a long queue for them. Not so much here. At night time, all these lanterns are lit up. That must look really nice. We actually came back in the evening and it was just as magical as you'd expect. Possibly even better at night time than during the day. And there's hardly anyone there. So I'm filming shots for the video and there's just nice shots everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's something picturesque or some old buildings or some nice little details. It is a really beautiful place. I don't think I fully appreciated that when I came to Kyoto before. The whole of Kyoto isn't historic, but there are these pockets of preserved areas that are really pretty. We're going to walk up this path which goes to Maruyama Park, which is part of Yasaka Shrine. Over here you can see some plum blossoms. They're not as frilly or large as the cherry blossoms. I think these ones are just starting, but they are really nice and colourful. It's really quiet down this path. It feels really spacious and open. Maruyama Park is one of the top cherry blossom spots in Kyoto, so expect it to be a lot busier during that time. I think this is a weeping willow cherry blossom. I saw in a picture, I think there's going to be cherry blossoms here in a few weeks. It's going to be beautiful. It is beautiful enough now, to be fair. It's the perfect place for snack time. I've got a sakura ice cream, cherry blossom flavour, and Phil's gone for strawberry ice cream with a nice view of the park. We're going to try and spot the fishes. I don't like herons because a heron came to our garden and ate all the goldfish in our pond. So they're my enemy now. Ice cream tip. One of the problems in Japan is there aren't many rubbish bins, but sometimes if you buy something from a kiosk or a stand, you can take your rubbish back to the stand and they'll get rid of it for you. Otherwise, you could be walking around holding it all day. A nice little stream running into the ponds down there. So now we're coming back to Yasaka Shrine, which is just next to the park. That's the shrine we were in earlier. It's the Kanji Museum and Library, which I think would probably be really interesting if you could understand any of it. I think it'd be really interesting to understand all the origins of the kanji characters. There's thousands of them. We're heading back into Kennenji Temple and we're heading towards the Kiyomizudera area. This temple has quite large grounds, takes up quite a large area. We've just come out of Kennenji Temple and Yasaka Pagoda is only 7 minutes walk away. Now we're really getting into Southern Higashiyama, one of the most popular areas. The streets are narrower and it gets much more crowded as you get closer to Kiyomizudera. I think it's pretty much always busy here unless you get up extremely early. Really, you just have to accept that and enjoy it for what it is. I love how imposing this dark pagoda looks. This is the entrance to Yasaka Shrine. I was looking for this one because it looks really colourful inside. It's called Yasaka Koshindo. It's a small shrine that's easy to miss, very close to the Yasaka Pagoda. So the point of this display at the shrine is each of these really colourful things is a monkey. They have 4 legs and they're tied up, and the monkeys represent your bad habits and your wild side. So they tie the monkeys up and leave them at the shrine to get rid of your bad habits. They're called Kukuri Saru. Here's the price is 500 yen. Saru means monkey and kukuri means tied up or in a knot. So they're monkeys tied in knots. There's lots of monkeys here at the main part of the shrine as well. The temple is dedicated to Koshin-san, who helps everyone who's striving to be good and punishes anyone who's bad. Koshi is a belief involving the 3 monkeys: hear no, see no, speak no evil. The shrine's very small and it's so busy. Here's the Yasaka Pagoda. It makes it seem even more imposing that you approach it going up a slope. Here, right next to the Yasaka Pagoda, you can do a pottery making class. That's a nice thing to do. Today they're fully booked up. Here's the prices. Like 2,500 yen. That's not bad. It only takes 20 minutes. There's lots of places to eat around here as well and lots of snacks. It's my theory that in Kyoto you're never more than 100 meters from a matcha ice cream. Here's one. It looks like they have a lot of matcha, mochi and traditional sweets. I can't believe there are trucks driving through these narrow streets. It must be quite a challenge when it's so busy. But they've got to deliver all that matcha. Even though it's busy, walking through this area is like strolling through a dream of traditional Japan, with gardens, historic architecture and temples. We've got a queue here where everyone's taking pictures of Ninenzaka, one of the famous streets. There are a lot of people here, but I don't think it's as busy as last time I was here, when it was just crowds everywhere and you couldn't really move. One of the reasons we came to Kyoto now was in the hope that it might be slightly less busy than it normally is because of tourism to Japan only having opened up in October. When I heard that people were going in October, I was really jealous and thought that if I was there then I would definitely come to Kyoto to enjoy all these famous sites without the crowds that are normally here. And I think there are a lot of people here at the moment. It's not empty by any means, but it's not too crazy. You can still walk around and see everything at the moment. This area in Higashiyama around Kiyomizudera is one of the most popular places to go in Kyoto. So I think this is really the test of how busy it is. There you go, matcha soft serve. What I say about matcha ice cream being everywhere in Kyoto. Donguri Kyowakoku is the official Studio Ghibli store that you'll find all around Japan. It's super cute and all official merchandise. The name Donguri Kyowakoku means Acorn Republic, matching the natural forest theme. Some stores have an acorn bank where you can contribute acorns to a reforestation project in Shikoku. For every 100 acorns you deposit, you can get an oak tree sapling in return. I'm getting these as presents from my neighbours. That shop's a lot bigger than it looks in the front. Goes back a long way. Matcha ice cream. So we came out of the Totoro shop at the end of Ninenzaka. Down this end it's actually not that busy. The crowds are all at the other end where the stairs are, and if you look the other way it's even quieter, and the side streets are quite quiet too. You're not allowed to take photos down them. This tiny fish pond was just at the side of the street. I love the patterns on the fish. It's worth remembering that the famous streets like Ninenzaka and Sannenzaka aren't the only picturesque places. Everyone wants to see them, and the quieter streets might be less stunning, but they're probably more enjoyable overall. Matcha ice cream, almost opposite that one, but there's more matcha ice cream in this cafe. More! Another one just across the street. As much as I say people shouldn't all go to the same few places and make them overcrowded, you can't deny this is beautiful. While this isn't the only picturesque place in Japan, you can see why people want to come here. This shop has all cat stuff. All the cats. Last time we were here in Kyoto, it was the start of October and it was so humid. There was a typhoon that had just diverted off towards Korea, but there was some rain and it was still really warm. So I've got a photo from almost this exact spot with everyone with their umbrellas out. This is one of the main streets leading up to Kiyomizudera, and last time I was here it was pretty crazy down here, and today there are still quite a lot of people. It's about 3 in the afternoon now on a Thursday. Pretty much everyone who goes to Kyoto will go here. So just for a minute, here's the actual experience of walking along the street. Matcha ice cream. If the craziness of the street gets too much for you, go down this side alleyway and there's a nice spot to rest. Look for this sign for the tofu restaurant, and if you want to check it on Google Maps, it's called Okabeya Tofu Restaurant. Probably not how you pronounce it. Arigato. There's the tofu restaurant Okabeya, and you want to continue along the street past it. Look at all these vegetables on the ground. Instantly when you come down this street it's a lot quieter and you can take a seat by this. Sometimes it's a fountain, it doesn't seem to be on today, but it's nice spots to sit down. As we get closer and closer to Kiyomizudera, it's getting more and more crowded in the street. Tourism is definitely back in Kyoto, and it's not even cherry blossom season yet. We're coming up to Kiyomizudera. It looks really nice with the plum blossoms out the front. This is pretty crowded around here though. This also looks really imposing as you come up to a slope. Good spot to build a temple. It's also nice to see all the trees behind on the mountains. I think they were doing some construction work here for a few years on the platform where you look out over the mountains to that side. I can't see any work still going on, so maybe it's all done now. Here you can see how busy it was in that street we were just in. If you go further along away from this area, it isn't quite so crowded. While major temples like this are impressive, smaller temples and shrines can have a lot more atmosphere, even if they're not on the top 10 things to do in Kyoto. It's worth exploring smaller ones you happen to come across as you're going around. There's a nice view of Kyoto from Kiyomizudera. I love how you can see the mountains in the background as well. Can you see Kyoto Tower through there? That's right by the station. It's early spring, before the leaves have grown back on the trees. This looks even more stunning at other times of the year. And you can just see the other pagoda in the distance. Here's where you buy tickets if you want to go into the temple. It's 400 yen for adults, which I think is pretty cheap considering this is one of the main sites in Kyoto. The gardens is 300 yen. We're not going in today, but all the parts I've walked around Kiyomizudera out here are free to just wander around, including the view of the city. You probably get a better view if you paid to go in, and you can see the view from the famous terrace and see that pagoda better. There are so many temples and shrines in Kyoto and all around Japan, not just the most famous ones you always hear about. In fact, there are over 2,000 just in Kyoto. Just behind me is a thing called Tainai Meguri. It's a tunnel that you walk through and it's pitch black, so you can't see anything at all. You just follow a rope that you hold along. I've never tried it, but apparently you walk along it for a couple of minutes and eventually you come upon a lamp, and then you come back out into the daylight, and it feels like being reborn. And the symbolism of it is following the rope is like following your path in life, and you don't want to lose track of your path or you'll get lost. We were going to try it out. It's only 100 yen to go in, but it's just coming up to 4 o'clock and it's about to close. In fact, we were just going up to buy tickets and they took away the sign, so we've missed out on that one today. But if you want to go in it, find the big pagoda in Kiyomizudera, and it's just beside it. It's not in the main section where you pay to go in and do all the other temple activities. Tainai means womb and Meguri means to walk around or visit. Update, we saw other people going into Tainai and Meguri, so we decided to go up there as well, and it turned out most of the people were queuing for tickets to go into the main section of the temple, and there were only a couple of people waiting for Tainai and Meguri, so we got in, we could try it out, and look how nice the tickets are. They're really pretty. It was really interesting experience. It really is completely black in there. It felt like I had my eyes shut, you couldn't see anything. And the path you're following as you hold, it's like a rope with beads on. It does twist and turn a bit. It's really strange going around corners in the dark. And then you come across this stone that's lit up and you're allowed to make one wish and then you come out into the light again. Did you enjoy it, Phil?
I thought it was really good fun. It is interesting just how dark that got, how quickly it got dark.
Really strange. You don't often walk along in the pitch darkness, do you? And you have to take your shoes off as well, so you're just walking along in your socks on the stone floor.
And it is actually pitch black. So
yeah, properly dark.
After 30 metres I couldn't see you in front of me at all.
I kept bumping into the person in front of me.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience for 100, yeah, and it's quite a good time. Well, as long as you don't mind dark places.
I thought it'd be scary, but it wasn't.
Yeah, your eyes don't get used to that. It's
no.
Dark. And it's not that long either.
No, it wasn't walking for a couple of minutes, I don't think.
No, I think, well, we was probably through it in about 2-3 minutes. And you kind of shuffle along because it's so dark. But yeah, that's a good time.
Now we're reborn.
I feel good.
This is the entrance to go into for Tainai and Meguri, and the entrance to all the other temple parts is over that side, so you could easily just walk straight past this. You buy the tickets for Tainai and Meguri on this side. The queue on this side was for something else. That could be to buy the ima, these wooden boards, which have all got rabbits on for the Year of the Rabbits update. We enjoyed Tainai and Meguri so much that we're going to go in and see the rest of the temple. This is where you buy the tickets. It's just next to the entrance. I got the tickets. These are really nice ones as well. They got a nice picture of Kiyomizudera in cherry blossom season. A bit windy. I didn't know how to ask for 2 adults until now. I'd just been going into places and saying ni, but I heard the person in front of me saying otona ni mai kudasai. So that's how you ask for 2 adults. Otona ni mai. We're just coming through the ticket gates, and it looks like you can go on a little trek across a path over there, and you can go right up to the pagoda. Looks like they are still doing some construction, but I don't think there's anything too major. What's going on here? They're trying to lift the staff of a warrior monk called Benkei, which is said to be 90 kilograms, that's 200 pounds. It was so crowded that I didn't want to wait to try it. I don't think I could lift that much, but there is a lighter one that's 14 kilograms, that's about 260 pounds. Incense at temples is said to purify and has a healing effect for good health. Kiyomizudera means clear water temple, and down there are 3 water fountains, and each one is symbolic of a different thing. You can choose which one you want to drink from for good fortune in that area. Look at that view, we can see the whole of Kyoto. Now apparently this is the Easy Childbirth Pagoda. It's the one we could see in the distance from over there. I thought it was going to be bigger than this, so it's a kind of forced perspective. This temple's all about the good views. Now it's time for the Ottawa waterfall. We're just trying to work out if you're supposed to drink the water or wash your hands with it, and then exactly how you're supposed to tip it out. It's good to see there's UV sterilisation for the ladles. I thought there was going to be a sign saying what each fountain symbolised, because they each symbolise a different thing, but it didn't say which was which, so we just went for whichever one was free. I went for the middle and Phil went for the one on the left if you're looking out, so we're going to check what each one's for now. We just tried to look it up, but our pocket Wi-Fi isn't getting very far at the moment. Usually you do get reception everywhere. I think it might be because it's quite busy here, but to be honest, Sakura Mobile hasn't been the best pocket Wi-Fi we've had, so I'll look it up later. I know the categories are love, success and longevity, but we're not sure which is which. It was surprisingly tricky to find this out. When you're looking at the waterfall, the left is success, the middle is love, and the right is long life. Actually, you're supposed to drink the water of the one you want to come true, and drinking from all 3 is considered greedy. There were people drinking straight from the ladle, which doesn't seem very hygienic. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to pour it into your hand first. We've come out of Kiyomizudera to the left side if you've got your back to the temple, and this street is a lot quieter than the main street, which is about 20 metres that way, where everyone is. Down this quiet side street there's a few places where you can rent rent kimono. This one is 2,900 yen for the day. It looks like they've got lots of different ones you can pick. In this shop it's 3,000 yen for kimono rental. We've taken the train up to Damachi Yanagi station. It was a bit too far to walk, so we took the metro because there's these stepping stones across the river. It looks really nice here. It's like a kind of park around this area. It's going to be getting dark soon. Walking by the river's always nice in Kyoto, but I'd never made it to this spot before. This part's known as the Kamogawa Delta. Gawa just means river, so it's Kamo River Delta. Some of the stepping stones are shaped like turtles. That's really cute. They're quite far apart actually.
Good luck.
Maybe you should take the camera.
Yep.
That is quite a big gap. We're going onto the turtle's back. Sorry turtle, I'm going to stand on your head. There's a lot of crows up there.
It's cold.
The water's actually not deep at all, but I don't want to get wet feet. Here's another turtle. You can also get onto the park if you cross either bridge from either side into the middle and come down. This is actually a really nice little park. There's someone here practicing their flute, someone practicing lacrosse against the wall under the bridge. It'd be a nice place to come and have lunch or just sit and chill. You are allowed to go paddling, so in the summer when it's really hot, it'd be a good place to cool off. There are some people doing dance practice across there as well. There's a kid just running across. It's just getting dark and we've come into the Kyoto Imperial Palace to cut through on the way to the station and just to see what's here. It's a really spacious park, lots of grass and trees. This used to be where the emperor lived before the capital moved to Tokyo in the 1800s. If you're there in the daytime, you can take a look around the main section inside these walls, but you can't go in any of the buildings, and that's free. It's quite a large park that's 1,300 meters long. No wonder our feet were hurting at this point. If it's your first time going to Kyoto, I hope that shows what it's like. Even though this is a relatively quiet time of year, it's not crowded everywhere. The main famous spots will always be busy because that's where everyone wants to go. But all you have to do is stroll a street or two away from the main routes to find a spot to yourself, or go somewhere that isn't on the top tourist lists of things to do in Kyoto, and you can have a moment of calm. Kyoto isn't the only place to see beautiful historic Japan. There are so many smaller towns you can go to that might have less to do, but they will be less crowded. Lots of people fall in love with Kyoto. I'm not one of those people, but I did enjoy it more on this return visit. It helps to know what to expect. The whole city isn't historic, and you have to accept that certain places will be busy, but there is a lot to see here, and it is lovely walking through a wonderland of traditional Japan.